The Penguin is informed by another inmate at Arkham Asylum during a game of bingo that a sizable sum of money is stashed away in Gotham Cemetery's crypt, concealed under a cross-shaped gravestone. An alert goes off, and a guard yells that the Joker has fled when the prisoner mentions that he told the Joker. The pandemonium gives Penguin an opportunity to escape as well. When Penguin runs into the Joker on his way to the cemetery, they strike a deal. However, the Joker doesn't waste any time in betraying Penguin and using an electrified joy buzzer to knock him unconscious. Penguin smirks as he observes the Batman pursuing the Joker. When Penguin arrives at the cemetery, it becomes apparent that many of the grave markers bear crosses. Meanwhile, the Joker and Batman engage in combat, which ends with the Joker apparently drowning and being electrocuted by his own joy buzzers. Penguin discovers a vault at the cemetery and releases a hanging coffin. He cuts his palm on the umbrella's blade during the process, and the blood seeps onto the corpse's heart. The corpse reanimates and grows new flesh and organs as Penguin exits the crypt. Penguin notices Dracula rising after hearing the corpse. Dracula pursues the smell and blood trail left by the Penguin's cut as the man flees. The night watchman is located by Dracula, who draws blood from him. Penguin protests that a dead guy can't become a vampire and is shocked to see the watchman turn into one. In response, Dracula claims that he is in fact dead. In order to feed himself, Dracula hypnotizes Penguin into serving as his personal guide through Gotham. Penguin reveals to Dracula that he is actually in Gotham City after Dracula observes that Transylvania has altered. He has been moved since his death, Dracula finishes. A guy who appears to be well-educated and well-dressed leads a mob of enraged individuals as they march towards Dracula's castle in a flashback. To ultimately bring about Dracula's demise, the leader drives the stake through his heart. The commander is aware that he has only rendered the vampire unconscious and paralyzed, rendering him appear to be dead. The vampire's body was soon taken out of Transylvania and interred in America on territory that would one day become Gotham City. Vicky Vale and Bruce conduct a conversation in a restaurant. He invites her to both the Saturday dinner and the corporate supper. A woman is robbed while the Batman is on patrol in the city, but when the thief is apprehended before the Batman can reach, he determines he is not necessary. He realizes that the night watchman is a vampire when he hears the woman cry once more. The wife and the thief have also turned into vampires. The Batman battles them, but is unable to win, so he makes them flee. Penguin then awakens Dracula, who now resembles a human after consuming some flesh, with the intention of making Gotham the capital of the vampires and installing him as their ruler. Batman knows something is awry even if he does not trust what he has seen. Bruce encounters Dracula during the party in the person of Dr. Alucard. Vicky Vale piques Dracula's curiosity, and he claims to be researching the Batman. To Vicky's chagrin, a waiter approaches carrying a platter of beefsteak tartare, which Dracula admires before devouring. The Count is visibly upset as a waitress arrives with a dish of garlic shrimp. This is observed by Bruce, who offers him some, claiming that it tastes fantastic and really packs a punch. But Dracula hypnotizes Bruce and walks away. When Dracula is ready to eat him, the mesmerized Bruce wanders over to the balcony after leaving Vicky. However, just as Dracula is about to bite his victim, Alfred shows up, causing Dracula to vanish and Bruce to awaken from his reverie. In the interim, Dracula eats one of the waiters. After learning that the waiter is a vampire, Alfred narrowly escapes an attack. Bruce determines that Alucard is actually Dracula in the interim. Batman came to learn that many of Dracula's legends were based on actual events after conducting extensive investigation with Alfred in the Batcave. He and Alfred understand that Dracula is to blame for the disappearances of Gotham residents, and they also understand that the vampire's population will increase exponentially within a short period of time to become an army. Bruce decides against killing the vampires in favor of trying to restore Dracula's victims to normality because, despite its supernatural origins, vampirism appears to be contagious and can usually be treated. Bruce and Alfred make their way to the Manor's library in quest of the books and studies on medicine owned by Bruce's father, Dr. Thomas Wayne. The next morning, it is falsely reported that the Batman is causing people to disappear and is attacked that night on patrol. As Batman traces the city's number of disappearances, he discovers that the first attack occurred at Gotham Cemetery, where a watchman has disappeared. After realizing that vampirism is plaguing the city, Alfred not only arms the mansion with relics and herbs known to ward off the creatures, but also Batman's own arsenal as well. The Gotham PD SWAT team is present throughout the night while they investigate in the cemetery. The police officers are captured by Dracula as he flees and turned into vampires. Dracula and Batman cross paths on a rooftop. Dracula offers the Dark Knight the option to have enhanced senses, increased speed and strength, and immortality. Dracula admits to adoring the Dark Knight and remarks that his legend has had an impact. Batman rejects because he is aware of what accepting this offer would actually mean for him. He also makes an attempt to attack him, but fails and sustains serious injuries. Fortunately, when the dawn comes up, Dracula flees, but not before making a threat to the Dark Knight that maggots will feed upon his flesh as punishment for the refusal. Later, Bruce awakens in his bed after experiencing a nightmare in which he sees the Batman as a vampire and his parents being murdered after seeing the Cloaked Rider. The young billionaire awakens, terrified of his own image as Dracula's evil and the Batman. After being transported to a boat by a fisherman, Joker appears at the cemetery and demands Penguin pay him. When he uncovers Dracula's coffin and pursues Penguin into the crypt, he is attacked. Later, in a blood bank, the Joker is discovered gorging on blood from the various bottles on the shelves after attacking a nurse. He makes the amusing observation that the blood has a delectable flavor with a bold finish of wild cherries with a hint of oak. The Batman attacks Joker with garlic bombs, as he is preoccupied swallowing blood that is pouring down from a collapsed set of shelves. Batman brings him into the Batcave, where he begins treating vampirism, which the computer recognizes as a virus that affects a host's cellular structure. He also asks the clown Prince of Crime for the whereabouts of the Prince of Darkness. Because of what happened in Gotham Cemetery, the Joker is now the vampire's vessel, and despite his hatred for the Vampire Lord, he is powerless to tell where he is. This implies that the Joker will return to Arkham Asylum. Unfortunately, Vicky, who is at a train station where she meets Dracula, is standing up as the Dark Knight strives to find the cure and find Dracula and his victims. When Bruce calls her, no one picks up. He completes the vaccine-based treatment and uses it to heal Joker. He can no longer recall what transpired in the crypt. Batman, though, is able to determine Dracula's location using the Joker's recollections from before he was bitten. Following that, Batman creates the vaccine in large quantities and plans his assault. In the crypt, Dracula sets Vicky, who is in a coffin and under a spell, over a slab of Carmilla's ashes. Carmilla, who was also a vampire and died when exposed to sunlight, was laid to rest there. Then, he starts to use her soul to bring her back to life, giving the impression that she is one of the few vampires that also eats souls. The Batman enters the crypt at Gotham Cemetery and discovers a catacomb underneath it, which explains how Dracula was able to bypass the Christian relics above it. During the Dark Knight's attack, Batman cures all the vampires with the vaccine. Batman is about to fire a projectile carrying the last vial of the vaccine to the Vampire Lord, when Dracula hypnotizes the Dark Knight and makes him unable to fire and destroy him. The Dark Knight willingly escapes Dracula's grip after hearing him mockingly laugh at him and recalling the childhood tragedy that gave him the idea to become Batman. Then he battles Dracula after rescuing Vicky, healing Vicky's soul, and attacking Carmilla. Batman uses explosives to delay Dracula and reach the Batcave after realizing that the caves lead there. However, Dracula beats him and decides to kill him instead of turning him into a vampire. Alfred stabs a vial of the vaccine into Dracula, but it does not work, as Dracula is the original, evil incarnate. Batman then turns on a Wayne Industries gadget that has the ability to store, emit, and convert sunlight into energy. Dracula discovers Batman's identity too late, Bruce Wayne. Batman kills off Dracula with a punch, leaving just a skull with fangs after using a grapple hook to fly up out of the sun and setting Dracula on fire. Alfred then empties the trash can of his remains. Penguin pursues Vicky in the interim and pursues her through the cemetery. He locates her in a crypt and is about to capture her when he awakens from his hypnosis and finally finds the prize that started the whole mess. He's ecstatic, but the cops then apprehend him. As he is being taken away, Penguin maintains that the people were vampires, but news reporters claim that Penguin was in control of them. When the Batman shows up to check on the victims, Vicky beams because he knows he saved the city. Knowing that he has successfully vanquished the ultimate evil, the Batman swings arrogantly through the city before returning to his patrol and preparing to safeguard Gotham against any potential threats.